Okay, so what we're going to do is take it little bit by little bit and see how we can add in. Okay, just up to there. How we can add in shapes for the rest of the mouth and make sure that everything looks nice. Okay, so first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that if I haven't yet, I'm going to make a keying set for the controls that influence my mouth. Okay, and that's going to be. Okay, I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to make a new one. Okay, so if you haven't done this yet, this is how. I'm going to call it mouth. And I'm going to press N to get to my menu over here. And just move my properties up because we need those part of our keying set. Okay, so I'm going to move it underneath all of that. Okay, so literally for all of those 5 controls, for the location, I'm going to right click and say add all to keying set, and for each of these properties, so that when we press I, we keep all of our parameters at once. Okay, and do that for all of those controls. So location, add all, and for these add all, and add that one, add all, add, and then this one. Okay, so that's what we need to do whenever we start animating a new chunk. Okay, so in our current keying set over there, it says active keying set. There are the paths for all the parameters which you can animate now. Okay, so if I select that and this is set to mouth, whenever I press I, we're going to get a keyframe on all of those. Okay. Then also, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. Okay, if you press the up and down keys, you step between keyframes. Okay, so you go to the last keyframe, which is pretty cool. Also, if you're in a keying set and you press that button, it's going to take away all the keyframes on all the controls of that keying set for the current frame. Okay, so the trick to doing this, okay, is literally establish your timing using the jawbone. Okay, then once you're sure that that works, okay, that he's not jabbering away, that the jaw doesn't move too quickly, that you don't have too many keys, okay, all that we need to do is go back and on every keyframe where we've animated the jaw, go and position the mouth into a shape which supports the sound which he's making on that frame. Okay, and that's it. Okay, we don't need to go and add anything else for now. Just for the purposes of this exercise, on each of these frames, we just go and decorate it by filling in the rest of the mouth controls. Okay. The one thing I want to do before we do that, though, and this I'm just going to set onto location because I don't want to key everything. I just want to key the current control. There. Okay, it's just when he says jerks, I just want it to be a bit quicker. Okay, so just that movement over there. Okay, I feel it's a bit slow for the snappiness of the sound. So all I'm going to do is just slow that down a bit by in between those 2 frames, adding in a keyframe over there where it's still a little bit more closed, and then speed it up again when it closes. So literally just to go. Okay, so by the time he makes a x sound, that his mouth is more closed. Okay, so that's all I really wanted to add. So now I can go back to my mouth keying set over there. And as I said, we can go and add in animation on the keyframes that we already have. Okay, and that's it. Okay, don't need to do anything else than just decorate the frames which you already have. Okay, so the ha, not really much that we need to do there, so I'm going to leave that for now. And the first one I really need to change is the jerks over there. Okay, so I'm going to key the frame before, go to this frame, and I'm going to get this for the jerks to look how I think we need it. Okay, so over here, jerks. Okay, so for jerks, we're probably going to need to move the corners of the mouth in. Okay, which automatically pouts our lips a bit. Okay, key those. Also, I noticed that this control had animation on the roll out, which it didn't actually need, so I'm just going to take it off on the frame before. And that one I expect. Okay, so that it's... Okay, so it activates on the jerk for jerks. Maybe pull that lip down a bit. And maybe even pinch the corners of the mouth a little bit. Maybe not. I'll do that. Okay, so Okay, and there we have, I mean, just by doing that, we already have something which looks a little bit better. Okay, so going back to the jaw where all my keyframes are already, going to go and just... Okay, and over there, I'm going to pull those corners out a bit for the S sound. Okay, actually, undo that. I just want to key it up on the... Key it over there, and then for the S sound over there, I can pull them out a bit. Didn't key anything, I pressed the wrong button. Animating in the dark. Okay, so something like that. So maybe over there, pull it out a little bit already. Okay, then I'm going to leave it for now, not going into too much detail. Then over there, that's the anticipation for the they. So over there for the they. Before I do that, I'm just going to unroll that as well. Unroll a little bit there. Okay, and then for the they, there, I'm going to roll that out again. Pull that down a little bit. And move the tongue up. Tongue up. I mean, you can go and throw in some extra shape for it if you want, so... And for the A, undo those. Okay, so it's literally just taking each frame that you already have and making it a little bit nicer, and that's it. Tongue down again. Okay, then therefore I should going to, okay, let's just over there, unroll that again. Okay, next frame. Should, so roll that one out, push that one down a bit, bring these in maybe. And maybe pinch the corners a bit. If that doesn't work, just reset that one. And there for the should, I'm going to unpinch those corners and also move them all down a bit. Pull that down. Maybe even. Okay, so key that there. Should do over there. The okay, I'm going to unroll all of those and roll that in a little bit. Okay, and then next frame, which over there, which is a shot, me again. So over there, I can maybe pull that out. Maybe pull those in a bit. Okay, I'm going to roll that one out a little bit because it is sort of like... Okay, next one is a me, which is a pretty dead giveaway. So there, I'm going to unmute that one, reset that one, roll that one in, roll that one in, maybe pull it down a bit. Maybe pull that one up a bit. Okay, me next. Me, reset that one. Reset that one. Pull that down. Maybe pull those out a little. Okay, so me. Okay, and then the next frame that I have. Okay, anything that changes on that frame is I want the tongue to come up for the in the head. Okay, so just a little bit, and then the head over there. Open the mouth just a little bit more. Maybe add a bit of a schmal to it. And then over there, well, it's going to change that the tongue is going to come up for head while the mouth closes. So over there, the tongue can come up again. And then over there, maybe close a little bit more and pull the tongue back down. Okay, so that's just me running through it. Okay, I haven't even checked anything, but literally all I've done, shaped the lips a little bit more like the sound he's making on the frame that the jaw was keyed. Okay, so now if we check what that looks like, we can go and have a look and see where we need to add or take anything away. Okay, so I'm just going to make a new capture, so I'm just going to call this Wednesday 12, 7 million of these already. And then see what it looks like. Did that finish? Did it stop at frame 100? Oh, that's okay if it did. Anyway, let's see. Captures done.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head.
Okay, and for first pass, I mean, that's really not terrible. I mean, all we need to do is tweak a little bit. The head's a bit weird at the end.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head. Jerks. They should have shot me in the head.
Okay, and with a little bit more tweaking, then we get to something finally.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head. And enough times to make sure. Jerks. They should have shot me in the head. And enough times to make sure. Jerks. They should have shot me in the head. And enough times to make sure.
And that's it. Okay, for the mouth. Okay, so once you've done the mouth, okay, I'm going to go to this one where the mouth is done. I'm going to turn off all of these things. Okay, so this is now the one which I just showed you. Just turning off. Just notice if you're trying to animate with your multi-res or your subdivision surfaces on, that's how slow it is, and if you turn it off, it's much quicker. Okay, so turn those off if you're not, while you're animating.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head. And enough times to make sure.
Okay, so now what we can do, remember, our only goal for this is actually just to test the rig. Okay, so for the rest of the face, what we can do is literally just play with it a little bit, add some blinks, maybe move the brow a little bit. We're not really aiming for amazing animation, we're just trying to see if the rig works. Okay, so we're really not focusing on doing anything fancy. So what I'm going to do is just show you some tricks that you can think about later when you're busy doing blinks and those kind of things. Okay, so far only have the mouth. So what we're going to add now is just some blinks here and there, have the eyes look around and move the brows a little and see. I mean, that's pretty much all we need to do. Okay, now in terms of that, what I'm going to do is also make a new king set just for that. And I'm going to call it eyes and brows. Okay, and I'm literally just going to add the brows, the eyes, and the cheeks to it. Okay, so all of these that are pretty much left. And again, it's just location values, so we only need to add those. Okay, and eyelids. And the cheeks. Okay, so now we should have a king set that has all of those in them. Okay, now with those, I'm just going to go and delete the frames that are on them already. So just going to go down arrow and then delete on all of those because we shouldn't have any on them. And also on this, I just need to make sure that these aren't all the way down because then they're not going to work later. Okay, so what we can do is basically, I'm going to turn even the audio off because it doesn't really matter anymore. I'm going to show you some things just to think about when doing like blinks and those kind of little things. Okay, just little like tricks to getting them to look cool. Okay, so first of all, if we have a blink, so I just want to put it here. Okay, so say now a blink. Okay, a blink is pretty straightforward. Okay, a blink goes from being open, and then a bunch of frames later, it closes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you think about a normal blink, okay, generally you can get away with a normal blink being between 2 and 3 seconds long on each direction. Okay, so how I've got it there is it's going to be open, and 3 frames later, I'm going to close both eyes. Okay, and then 4 frames later, whoops, that didn't do it. I, not K. 4 frames later, it's going to be open again. Okay, so if we just have a blink, okay, we only have the eyes moving. What we can do is incorporate some of the other features of the face as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, just tiny things. Okay, so if we have that blink, okay, we can include some of the brows as well. Okay, by adding just a little bit of a squash in the brow over there. I'm going to over-exaggerate it now so you can see a little bit better. And similarly with the cheeks to maybe just squash them up so it's a big blink. Okay, so if we do that, okay, firstly we have just some more of the face moving there as well. Okay, so there we have the brows and the cheeks moving tiny. Now, to make it even more interesting, what we can do is have some form of cause and effect happening. Okay, so if we have, for instance, the eyes moving, then the movement of the eyes causes the brows to pull down and the cheeks to pull up as well. Okay, so the eyes start and then these follow. Okay, now to move animation around, the easiest way to do it is in the dope sheet. Okay, so if you zoom in over here and we go and look for, say, our brow controls, they'll all be highlighted when you do this, which are over there. Okay, you can select a whole bunch of keyframes using the B button. Okay, so I'm just going to deselect everything, and I'm going to select all the keyframes of that blink for the brows and the cheeks. Okay, so all of those. And what I want to do is have them just be 1 frame later. So I'm just press G and move it up a frame. Okay, so now basically what's going to happen is first the eyes are going to move, and then everything else is going to follow. The eyes are going to stop, and everything else is going to stay 1 frame later. Okay, just so that there's some overlap in the face. Okay, now we can take that even a step further within the brows themselves. Okay, so we can select those controls and do the same thing. So say now, just so that we have some more like fluidity in the movements of the brows. So those 3, and take them a frame further again. Okay, so what that'll do is, if you look at the brows now, they start on the outside, and then the outside pulls the inside down, and then the inside goes a little bit later. Okay, so turn the wireframe on, you may just see it a little bit more clearly. Okay, so you get this little bit of a looseness in the movement. Okay, so from taking a blink to just having the eyes to having a little bit more of the face incorporated in that as well. Okay, which is kind of cool. Now what you can also do if you want to take it another step further, okay, is before the eyes open or close, okay, so say we can have a little bit of an anticipation in them as well. Okay, so over there they're closed, then instead of going immediately closed, they can open up a tiny bit, okay, and then close. So you just have that happening, okay. So just a little bit of a up movement before the time, and then it anticipates and goes into that, okay. And so we can build on these literally forever. I mean, then you can have it over exaggerate when it closes again, okay, and then open a little bit wider and then close. So you get a really bouncy blink. Okay, so depending on how prominent you want this thing to look, you can make it very prominent by moving it a lot more. Okay, so adding more anticipations and overlaps and those kind of things into it. Okay, which is kind of cool. Okay, now you can imply a lot of things with blinks as well. Okay, so for instance, you can imply that a character is like kind of dopey by having the blinks be offset. So you can have the one eye be slightly later than the other. So if we take, for instance, these frames. Okay, so the left upper eyelid, we can make them, if we literally offset them by a frame, you'll see that you get this weird okay, it's a very unnerving thing actually, but it also kind of works sometimes. If you want to, like, you'll see it like characters literally like dopey do it. Okay, anyway, so you can do that. We can literally go on for a while doing the same kind of thing. You can then also include your lower lids in it as well if you needed to. So just on the squash over there, you can just pull them up a tiny bit. They will intersect the other lids, but just to add a little bit more detail movement in there as well. Okay, so from having just a normal up and down, we can have literally the whole face being included and have a lot more actual movement in there. Okay, so just a little trick to get it to look a little bit more interesting. Okay. Similarly with the little things like eye dots and things. So if your eyes move from side to side, okay, what you can also do is incorporate more of the face when your eyes move. Okay, so for instance, if we had over here, just wherever, pick a frame, there. Just need to put it on location just for this. Okay, so we're only keying the eye control. And then 2 frames later, it's somewhere else, but like fairly big somewhere else. Okay, actually let's do it the other direction. That direction. Okay, so from there to there. Okay, now eye blinks are normally between 1 and 2 frames. Eye darts. Between 1 and 2 frames. So they can either just snap over a frame, or it can take 2 frames to get there. However, if it takes 2 frames, then what I normally do is I adjust the graph of it a little bit, the F-curve, just to make it support the one direction over the other. Okay, so we just zoom out and find out where it's keyed, which is over there. Okay, I just want to zoom in so we can clearly see what's happening over there. That would be in the X direction, so I can turn all of those off. Okay, now there we have a graph showing the 2 keyframes involved. Okay, so now our middle frame is directly in between those 2. Okay, but what we can do is pull this handle a little bit, press G, and pull it straighter, which in turn makes the position of the key over there, or the curve over there, a little bit higher, okay, in which case it's going to favor the second keyframe. So it's going to snap there and then just settle a tiny bit after that, okay, which also makes it a little bit softer and just appears a bit nicer. Okay, so something like that. So instead of just having it pop, you can have a slightly there and then just a little bit of a settle after that. Okay, now when you do that, what you can do is also, as I said, include the rest of the face. Okay, so in terms of the brows, for instance, you can have them also support that movement by having, for instance, the lines which the eyebrows form and the cheeks and the eyelids support that direction. Okay, so over here, the character is looking in this direction, okay, and the brows are angled in that same way. So opening the face toward the direction that the character is looking. Okay, so in the same way now that we can switch it by having the face a few frames later, we move this brow up to support the direction change. So I do that a little bit, just a little, not too much, just to get a tiny bit of movement. I'm over exaggerating it now, however. Okay, damn it, I missed it. Just want to go back into my this group. Okay, there we go. And then over there, we pull the other brow down a bit. Bonk. Okay, so just a little thing like that, which can really help just to make the support the change in direction a little bit. Okay, we can also do the same thing with the eyelids a tiny bit. So on the second frame, just close this outside eye just a bit. Okay, it helps when you split the eyebrows up into more than one control as well. Damn it. Okay, so over exaggerating just a tiny bit. Okay, so you can do something like that. Okay, to support that eye direction as well. And if you want to take it even further, you can do it in the cheeks too. Okay, doing it in the cheeks on just the normal eye change is a little bit hectic though. Okay, so if you have a close-up, for instance, then you'd probably go and do things like that if you need a lot more of the face to move. Okay, so just a few things. Taking a normal blink and just adding a lot more movement to it, and then also what you can do just to get the eyes moving as well. Okay, so playing with those controls just a little bit to get some nicer animation. Okay, so I mean, just if we focus now purely on those two things, so just those two movements, let's just see what they look like. Okay, so let's just have a look what that does. Okay, so for that, it would then look somewhat like this.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head.
Okay, so if you just focus, let's just turn the audio off even, on those two. So just a blink that really incorporates a lot more of the face than just the lids. And when he turns his looks around as well, and there's a little bit more movement in the rest of the face. Okay, but we'll get to proper facial animation in a lot more detail next module. Okay, any questions? Okay, cool. So that's that done.